Now what is a coordinate bond? Coordinate bond जो है that is a special kind of covalent bond, right? It is a special kind of covalent bond in which both the electrons needed for bonding, needed for bonding is given by one atom, yeah, is shared by one atom. Okay, we know that whenever a covalent bond is formed, sharing of electrons take place. We have already studied that. Okay, so over here, that shared pair of electrons that is provided by one atom. There is no transfer of electrons in this case. So, as in the case of electrovalent compounds, so there are no charges over here. Okay, why? Because there is no transfer of electrons. There is going to be no transfer of electrons. ठीक है? जैसे for example, if we are taking a molecule of ammonia, right, and we know that it has a lone pair of electrons, it combines with BF3. BF3 क्या होगा? Which does not have a complete octet. It has only 6 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay, so this can accommodate 2 more electrons. So as a result, a bond is formed if these 2 electrons are shared for bonding only by ammonia. So the coordinate bond that is represented as this with an arrow. Arrow means that this electron pair is being shared by ammonia towards BF3. Now this which is donating the lone pair of electrons for sharing, this is known as donor species. Okay, और ये जो BF3 है, this is known as acceptor species. ठीक है, clear हो गया? So this is what a coordinate bond is. So what are we saying? It is a special kind of bond. It is represented by arrow. Another example which we can take over here is that of ammonium ion. NH3, nitrogen has a lone pair of electrons plus H positive. These lone pair of electrons are given by NH3 or shared by NH3 to fill in the gap of the positive charge over here. ठीक है? So as a result, what we are going to get? NH4 positive ion, where the shared pair of electrons, they are shown in this manner. So this is what a coordinate bond is. The next type we have characteristics of coordinate compounds. This you can write down. Characteristics of coordinate compounds. Number 1, these exist as gases, solids or liquids. Gases, solids or liquids at room temperature. Number 2, their melting and boiling points are higher than covalent compounds. ठीक है? They are going to be higher than covalent compounds but lower than ionic compounds. ठीक है? It is higher than covalent compounds but lower than ionic compounds. These are sparingly soluble in water They are sparingly soluble in water, but more soluble in organic solvents. But they are more soluble in organic solvents. Okay. Then next, these are bad conductors of electricity, same as covalent compounds. These are going to be bad conductors. Bad conductors of electricity. Then next, these undergo molecular reactions. Just like covalent compounds, these also undergo molecular reaction. So the reaction in this case, they are again going to be slow, right? So the bond over here is also directional, just as in covalent bonds. The bond is directional, therefore these compounds also show isomerism. These compounds show isomerism. So these are a few characteristics of coordinate compounds, right? Then we go on to the next, that is failure of the octet rule. Failure of the octet rule. We had already discussed this, that what do we understand by octet rule? Octet rule होता है to complete 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Right? But there are many molecules which do not obey the octet rule. As for example, we have studied hydrogen, which has only 2 electrons in the outermost shell. Still they are what? They are going to be stable, right? In a similar manner, we have another molecule which is BF3. BF3 has 6 electrons in the outermost shell, still it is stable, and such octets, they are known as what? They are known as deficient octets, right? फिर next हमारे पास आ जाता है SF6. SF6 has 12 electrons in the outermost shell, and these are known as axis octets. Okay, so in spite of all these, still we said that the molecules, they are formed. What were the failures, or what was the explanation given to the formation of the bonds in spite of failure of the octet rule, right? So there were two scientists which gave two different theories to explain the exceptions to the octet rule. The first one was Sugden's concept. Sugden's concept. Now, according to this concept, you can write down. According to this concept, the maximum electrons in the outermost shell cannot exceed 8. In the outermost shell cannot exceed 8. Right? Now the formation of certain molecules like PCl5 and SF6, is explained on the fact that the central atom linked with some of the combining atoms. The central atom is linked with some of the combining atoms, by single electron bond. By single electron bond, which is known as singlet linkages, right? Which is known as singlet linkages, and these are represented by a single arrow rather than double arrow. Okay, so we're looking at the molecule of PCl5. We know that phosphorus has how many molecules in the outermost shell? 5 molecules, right? So in this case, there are certain single bonds which are formed, like chlorine can form bonds with phosphorus, can form bonds with 3 chlorides, right? And the 2 bonds which are formed over here, these are the singlet bonds, which are represented like this. So now if you count the total number of electrons which are surrounding phosphorus, they are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 1 electron is there, and 8. Okay? So over here there is a singlet linkage which is formed according to this theory. Similarly, when we are talking of SF6, in case of SF6 also the same criteria can be used. We know that the molecule of SF, there is going to be how many? 6 fluorines which are surrounding it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay. Over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 4 bonds which are singlet linkages over here. Like this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay. So these, what are we saying? That the electron which is present with fluorine, that is not participating in bonding. Only the electron which is present, the axis electron which is present in sulfur, that is going to participate in bonding over here. Okay. So this was the singlet linkage theory. Similarly, there was another theory which was given, which was known as the Sidgwick's theory of maximum covalency. Sidgwick's theory of maximum covalency. According to this theory, the covalency of any element can be exceeded. Why? Because of presence of certain Beckett orbitals which are present in the central atom. Okay. So according to this, like maximum covalency, it will depend upon what? We are saying over here, the first point according to this theory is that the covalency of each atom can be exceeded. Okay. Then number 2, it says that according to the Sidgwick's theory, the covalency depends upon the period. Right? Like if we're talking of the first period only has hydrogen. Right? So maximum covalency, which because it has only one orbital, so in case of the first period, in case of hydrogen, the maximum covalency which can be exceeded, that is going to be 2. Right? Because it has only 1. So total number of electrons in this case, that is going to be how much? In helium there are how many electrons? There are 2 electrons. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद second जो हमारे पास आता है, that is the second period starting from lithium to fluorine. Okay? In this case, the maximum covalency that can be how much? 4, 2s and 2p. ठीक है? So maximum covalency In this case, that can be 4. And the number of electrons which it can have, it is 8. 4 2s are 8. So number of electrons in a similar manner, this can have 2 into 2, that is equal to 4 electrons. This can have 4 into 2, that is equal to 8 electrons. In case of third period which starts from sodium to chlorine, the maximum number of electrons which it can have, the covalency which it can have, that is 6. Right? So what is going to be the maximum number of electrons? 6 into 2, that is 12. Right? Then we go to the fourth period. In case of fourth period, it will be same. Potassium to bromine, maximum covalency which it can have is 6, and the number of electrons which can be present, that is 12. Okay, but then when we are going to rubidium onwards, that is the fifth period. In case of fifth period, the maximum covalency that can be equal to 8, and the number of electrons then that will be how much? 8 into 2, which is 16. So when we are looking at sulfur over here, sulfur belongs to the third period, है ना? So third period की maximum covalency कितनी है? 6. And how many electrons can it have? 12. So with respect to this, the structure of SF6 can be written in this manner. Okay, SF6. So यहाँ पे when we looking at the structure, this is going to be the structure. Okay, for SF6. So the covalency which it can have, maximum covalency that can be 6, and it can have 12 electrons. So this rule explains the formation of PCl5. Phosphorus will also belong to the third period, right? So it can have maximum covalency till 6, but in PCl5 the maximum covalency that is going to 5, and the number of electrons they are going to be 10. ठीक है, clear हो गया? So this explains why nitrogen cannot form. Nitrogen will belong to the second period. So nitrogen की maximum covalency that is going to be 4. Nitrogen cannot form NCl5 and NF5. So this theory explains the fact that the maximum covalency of nitrogen has to be 4, and the number of electrons have to be 8. It cannot exceed more than 5. So it cannot form NCl5 and NF5. ठीक है? Then next we come to Lewis formula for molecules of polyatomic ions. When we looking at the Lewis formula, Lewis gave us the simplest kind of formula in which the valence electrons, that is the electrons present in the outermost shell, they were taken as dots surrounding the atom, right? For example, if the valence electron is 1, as in the case of hydrogen, the symbol of hydrogen that was listed like this. ठीक है? Similarly, helium has 2 electrons in the outermost shell, so that can be depicted like this. And lithium has 3 electrons in the outermost shell, that can be represented like this. So this is what Lewis dot formula is. So it basically shows us how many electrons are present in the outermost shell, or how many electrons are available for bonding. Because we know that only the electrons which are present in the valence shell, they are available for bonding. The inner electrons, they do not participate in bonding. ठीक है? Depending upon this, how do we there are certain steps which are given to write down the Lewis formula. Let's go on to these steps. The first step of the Lewis formula is that you have to write the symmetrical skeleton . you write down the symmetrical skeleton of the molecule. Like we are taking the example of water. So the skeleton of water, that is going to be HOH. So this is the first step. In the second step, what do we have to do? We have to now calculate that how many atoms are present at shared pair and how many atoms are going to be present as lone pair, right? So for that we have to go through again different processes. We need to calculate, let's say we are taking the molecule of H2SO4, right? In case of H2SO4, you calculate A. What is A over here? You can write down. Calculate the number of electrons available in the valence shell. Let's calculate the number of electrons present in the valence shell. Jैसे for example, let's say that the number of electrons, they are represented by A. Now when we talking of valence electrons in case of hydrogen, there is only one valence electron in hydrogen, and how many atoms of hydrogen are there? 2 atoms. So we can write it as 2 into 1 plus. In sulfur, how many? 6 are present, valence electrons. So we have 6 plus in case of oxygen also there are 6 electrons present because there are 4 oxygens, so 4 into 6. So total for this, that comes equal to 32 valence electrons, right? Then in the second step, you need to calculate the total number of electrons needed by each atom. Calculate total number of electrons needed by each atom to complete its octet. Right? This is the second step. So let's say that this is equal to n. Again, we're taking the same example over here. In case of hydrogen, the total number of electrons to complete the duplet, because hydrogen does not have any octet. So duplet means 2 electrons. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे क्या आ जाएगा? 2 into 2. Okay. Then sulfur needs how many electrons to complete its octet? That is 8. Right? So we have 1 atom of sulfur plus oxygen also needs 8 electrons. So there are 4 atoms of oxygen. 4 into 8. Right? So when we are calculating this, this is coming to total of 44 electrons to complete the octet. Then third, we have to calculate the total number of shared pair of electrons. To calculate shared pair of electrons. In order to calculate the shared pair of electrons, we need to use the formula n minus a, where n over here in this case is 44 and 32. Okay, so 44 minus 32, that is coming to 12 electrons. So the shared pair, that is how many electrons? 12 electrons. These 12 electrons should be present at the surrounding of the central atom in terms of total number of shared pair of electrons. So when we are looking at the formula of sulfuric acid H2SO4, let's write down the skeleton first. Okay, so there is going one shared pair of electron which is present over here. There is going to be another shared pair of electrons which is present over here. So this makes it 4. 8 shared pair of electrons have to be formed again. So let's see 8 shared pair of electrons. How will they come? ठीक है. अब ऑक्सीजन को आफ्टर डूइंग दिस you have to put in the lone pair of electrons. What are the lone pair of electrons which do not participate in bonding? So oxygen over here, 6 lone pair of electrons. Similarly 6 lone pair of electrons. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे 4 lone pair of electrons, and over here also 4 lone pair of electrons. So if you're looking at the structure over here, especially these two oxygens, you can see that there should be 6 valence electrons in oxygen. So over here the electrons of oxygen, they are not participating in bonding. So the bond formed between sulfur and oxygen, that is going to be a coordinate bond. Clear ho gaya? So what is happening over here, that this oxygen is, if you're looking at the structure of sulfur dioxide, this is going to be the structure, right? With lone pair of electrons. So sulfur ke 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 electrons in the valence shell. And how many electrons are here? 6, 4, 6 and 4. Okay, so this is how you are going to form the Lewis-Bond structure. Let's take another example over here. We are going to form the structure of PO4. Phosphate ion has 3 negative. Okay, so this you are going to do for practice on your own. First, second, you will draw the structure of SO4 2 negative. Third, draw the structure for NH4 positive. Okay, and draw the structure of ClO4 negative, and the last one CO2. So these structures you are going to draw for tomorrow, and we will discuss it in the next lecture. Right? So next thing we have, what do we understand by the term isoters? This is again an important concept. Isosters or isosteric species. Okay, isosters, they are molecules or ions. Ions have to be polyatomic over here. Okay, or ions containing same number of atoms containing same number of atoms and same number of electrons, both. This has come in your competition exams many times, this question. So if you're looking, let's take examples. If you're looking at CH4 and NH4 positive, the number of electrons in CH4 is 5. The number, atoms. Number of atoms in NH4 is also 5. Right? So let's calculate the number of electrons. Carbon has how many electrons? 6. 6 and 4, 10 electrons over here. So we say that number of electrons, they are going to be 10. In case of nitrogen, there are 7 electrons. 7 plus 4, 11. Because there is a positive charge over here, -1. So the total number of electrons, they are 10. So CH4 and NH4, they are said to be isosteric species. Okay, let's take another example. We have carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide, right? Number of atoms in case of carbon dioxide are 3. Number of atoms in case of N2O, that is also equal to 3. Okay? Number of electrons will be 6 and 2 into 8, 16. 16 plus 6, that is going to be equal to 22 electrons. Okay? Similarly over here, 7 2s are 14. 14 plus 8, that becomes equal to again 22 electrons. Okay? So these are isosteric species. Got it? Then the last topic for today which we are going to do, that is formal charge. Formal charge. Now what is a formal charge? When we are talking of polyatomic molecules or we are talking of polyatomic ions, in that case there is a net charge which is present on the molecule. Okay, that net charge should be such that it gives the most stable structure of that molecule. So how do we calculate the formal charge over here? Formal charge, that is equal to total number of valence electrons, total number of valence electrons minus total number of lone pair of electrons, or number of lone pair of electrons which is present in the molecule, minus half of shared pair of electrons. Okay? So we say that any structure of a polyatomic molecule or ion, it is stable if the net formal charge on the entire molecule that becomes equal to 0. ठीक है? जैसे for example, let's take the example of ozone. This is the structure of ozone. The first step is to put down the number of lone pair of electrons present on each oxygen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Similarly, we have to complete 8 over here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay? And they are going to be 6 over here. Okay? Now when we are talking, let's say this is the first oxygen, this is the second oxygen, and this is the third oxygen. We need to calculate the formal charges on all the 3 oxygens. Right? So let's go on to the first oxygen. Number of valence electrons in oxygen, that is going to be equal to 6. Right? Minus lone pair. On the first oxygen there are only 2 electrons which are present as a lone pair. Minus 2. Minus half of shared pair. So shared pair कितना है? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Into 6. So when you calculate this is going to be plus 1. So the formal charge on the first oxygen, that is plus 1. Let's go on to oxygen number 2. Again, valence electrons, they are going to be equal to 6. ठीक है? और lone pair कितना है? 1, 2, 3, 4 minus half of shared pair कितना है? 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we calculate this comes to 0. ठीक है? Then we go on to the third oxygen. In case of third oxygen, again valence electrons are 6. ठीक है? Minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 1 by 2 into 2. Okay, so if you are calculating the net formal charge over here, it is going to be plus 1. Minus 1 and 0. ठीक है? So it becomes equal to 0. You have to remember over here, in this case, whenever we are talking of formal charges, the two simultaneous atoms cannot have the same formal charge. Otherwise, it is going to be unstable. Which means that if this is having +1 positive sign on this cannot have a positive sign. This has to has a negative sign. Right? So whenever a question like this comes, that which of the following molecules or ions are unstable, this comes in the form of larger molecules in which you have a lot of resonating structures present. So you have to remember that ion in which the same charges are on the adjacent atoms, they are not going to be stable. They should have opposite charges, right? So same formal charge, it cannot be present in the adjacent atoms, number one. And number two, the negative charge should always be present at the most electronegative element. ठीक है? जैसे for example, if there is any molecule which is given to you in which the positive charge is, the negative charge is given on carbon and the positive charge is given on oxygen, then this is going to be unstable. Because the oxygen being more electronegative should bear the negative charge. ठीक है? समझ आ गया? So this is an important concept because from this section you will get the stability and instability of any molecule. So today we do only till here. Our next topic, that is going to be polarity of covalent bonds.